Hi guys, my name is Jim. I'm actually a current Sleep Number employee, and today I just wanted to go over some talking points when you are either getting a new install for your bed or getting some tips on how to repair pretty simple things. I do have 4 checkpoints that I do want to cover for the time that I'm doing this video. First being pump repair replacements. That can be a common thing. When you're getting a new bed, so that's going to be the first topic there. I have a diagram that I do want to show you guys. So essentially, it doesn't matter what type of 360 bed you have, integrated, flex top, just the mattress only, all the beds will come with a pump that looks like this. So typically this will either sit in a cubby hole if you have an integrated box spring, a gray tray on the flex fit bases, or just sitting on the ground, or if you have any kind of support for it, maybe on a box or some kind of padding so you won't hear the vibrations when you're sleeping if you ever adjust your firmness. But essentially there will be 2 hose connections on this pump here. There's a blue one down here. These will all be quick connected to these little intake valves on the pump here. These are whites. They will have white O-rings or grommets. The one down here will have blue. This will always run behind, kind of like a backboard foot rail on the flex fit base. So that's what that will do. This will run along the left side here, along the left side rail. So if you were to walk into your bedroom here, whoever's sleeping on, they call it the left side of the bed. If you were looking at the bed head on, it would appear they would be on your right side. So, but when you're lying on the bed, it's kind of like when you have your left and right arms stretched out. Left side is on the left, right arm is on the right. You have the power supply going from the left side rail here too. This actually will plug into the back of the pump here. And there's a communications cable, which will always be black. It's the smallest plug that kind of goes into, there's a little notch vertical that goes into the back of the pump here. This will actually follow along some of the metal part of the bed back to the white control box. It will be situated underneath the left side of the bed there. So if you were to have any pump issues, or you feel like something's a little bit off and they recommend maybe sending somebody out, or if they wanted to just send you the pump yourself, this is a very simple fix for the bed itself. So I probably saved you about maybe $200 or whatever they would attempt to charge on a service call if you had your bed for more than 100 days or possibly a couple of years. So if you were having firmness issues and they recommend sending a pumper, they would suggest that. This is a very simple fix. So power cable in the back here, there'd be like a little notch on the bottom of the pump here. All the indicator lights would actually be over here. There should be 6 of them usually, but depending on your home internet setup, not all of them will need to be lit up. Usually if you can get to the Wi-Fi indicator, which is usually the 3rd one on when the pump power's on, from this cable here, you're good to go. But you always want to make sure you put this pump on a tray or your cubby hole in the integrated base, or just leave it on the floor if you just have just a mattress only. But this kind of diagram I have set up for is for any of the flex fit bases, flex fit 1 through 3. So yeah, like I said, blue, white, they're both color coded, so it's pretty hard to mess these up. These will just get plugged into there, and then you would just do a software update on your existing app itself. I can actually show you how to do that in a second here. Let me bring it up on my phone. Actually, this is my iPod Touch. So essentially, this is your profile right there. That's mine. You would go into the profile guy, which is up in the top right corner here. So you would tap on him. That would take you to this next screen here. This will kind of give you your personalized information. And there's an, it'll say My Sleep Number Beds. So however many you have in your house, it'll say how many of them are online. So right there you can see, it might be backwards, I'm gonna flip this later, but that says 1 of 3. So then you would tap that, go to the bed that's either online or needs to get put online. And in my case, it would be the bottom option. And then you would just scroll down to the bottom section here where it says need to get your bed online. You would then tap that option here. It would give you this screen. Then you would scroll down till you see this option here which just says new bed parts. Now you would tap that, and it would just give you these two options. My bed is fully assembled. No one is on the bed during the process. That really doesn't matter a whole lot. So you would tap these two circles, they'll turn green, and it'll guide you through a pairing process for the bed itself, where it'll connect to your home Wi-Fi uh, and download the same software update that they had you go through when you did the first install for your bed originally, and that'll update the new pump. Because a lot of times, if you do have a firmness issue on your bed itself, it could be one of two things. 9 times out of 10, it's either the solenoids that are inside the air pump itself, which open and shut to allow air to pass through for a firmer bed, or suck it out and then snap shut and close for a softer bed. So if you were having issues with firmness on either the left or right side, they'll either have you replace the pump, or sometimes you might have a defective air chamber in your bed, which isn't always the case, but sometimes there might be a little seal or section of the Kevlar material which they use, which they glue along the edge there, so all the air stays intact. And sometimes there might be a leak in there if they don't seal it properly, but usually 9 times out of 10, it might be these solenoid mechanisms clamping down or not shutting tight enough if it's the pump. The second talking point I want to get to is if you have a frame. Now, a lot of people are confused about this part. If they're buying a new bed, either they think it's the collapsible metal frame that the box springs would sit on the ground. No. What we usually refer to that as, I usually always just kind of refer to it as like a sandbox. Like you have sandbox walls that are maybe 5 to 7 inches high, depending on how much is in there. But essentially, it's the frame that would go around your entire bed, and that's the thing that we're talking about when you put two parts in that make up your base of the bed that the mattress will then sit on top of. And typically you have, there's lips that would be glued and screwed onto the sides, the inner sides of your bed frame itself, that support the box springs, which also support the mattress. Now, if you're getting an adjustable base, flex fit 1 through 3, those would need to be taken out, or they can't be any more than, I'd say, half an inch. Any more than that, usually 1 inch or more. The bases will be put in there, but sometimes they might not sit flat, level, or flush. They might be a little bit cockeyed. You want to take those two side rails on the inside of the frame of your bed out, either with a hammer or a mallet. If they're screwed in there, you'd have to either get a mallet, bang them out, or unscrew it and then pop them out. But that is always the case when it comes to getting those two parts for the king base in there. That's very important, because sometimes when you put the bases in there, if your side walls on the left and right sides are too high up, there are two buttons on the base itself that will always flatten out the whole bed if you have the head. Usually it's the head primarily raised, sometimes it's the foot, depending on what your setup is. But sometimes if your walls are too high, the button can't be accessed, or you'd have to like stick your finger in there in an awkward angle, and that can be a little painful or awkward. But in that case, they would have to bring you adjustable legs to raise up the whole entire base. But then you'd have, sometimes I've come across people where they'd have to jump into the bed from the side, because then it's too high up. So depending on your frame setup, you always want to remember to take out those two side lips that were supporting the rails that were holding up your box springs and the mattress. Third thing I want to touch on is the phone app. Now, as I showed you before, how to engage those parts for actually, if you were having pump issues, the phone app itself, and this is a big part which sometimes in the store they'll guide you through, like how setting up your phone app can be should be done before our technicians arrive, me being one of them. It can be a little frustrating when people aren't ready, but essentially you would go into the profile, which is that little head guy there next to the bed there. SleepIQ is that little heartbeat bed, and you have the profile. You tap on that profile part, and that'll bring up the My Profile up top there. So you see those, the blue guy, the yellow heart, the calendar, and the house. Then you would tap on the My Profile part, which is right there. and that'll bring you into these. It'll ask you a series of questions in all 4 of these quadrants. So if you want to update these at any time, you can. You don't need to, but usually if maybe you've had like change of weight or you're sleeping much better, you can always go into the sleeper part, which is that little blue guy right there. Tap on that, and you can scroll down to after your height, how much do you weigh? So if you lost weight, that'll actually help tremendously with your sleeping habits at night too. So always maybe once a month or twice a month, check that to see. It'll actually give you tips each morning too. Like if you had a bad night of sleep, how while you're sleeping at night, it'll give you a wellness report at the end of the month. So always make sure to keep this updated. But whenever you're doing the phone app, whenever you're registering the phone, if you're going to use this, if you don't have a handheld remote like this guy, um, always make sure to have that ready because one, the phone app won't work until you actually get that set up on your phone. And another option or thing that they should probably tell more people in the store when you guys are buying your beds is always make sure to have your Wi-Fi router, whoever your provider is, at least within a minimum of 20 feet, because if it's further away than that, oftentimes the app, the SleepIQ app, can be finicky, or it just won't flat out connect, period, because the bed's too far away to actually get a signal from it. And I know when you're operating the Sleep Number 360 beds with either the phone app or the remote here, usually you always want to be at least within 8 feet at all times for it to work properly. So always make sure you complete these these four sections here: sleeper, home, health, and habits. That red guy down there. But once you have your profile filled out there and have your app registered, you should be good to go. If you're registering your app for the first time in the store, it'll always ask you to submit whatever email address you want to use, and also your order number, which usually starts with 9500 or 9501. That's what that's asking for there. What else is here? There's the firmness part of this video too. That goes kind of back to the pump repair replace issue I was talking about before. Usually the best how to get the most out of your bed lasting for years, because I had a gentleman probably in his maybe late 70s, 80s, maybe a summer or two ago of 2018 or 19. He said he had an original Sleep Number bed for about 37 years, which is, for one of these beds compared to a mattress, is a long time. There's an option in the bed itself too on your phone app. This is a software only thing. It's not on the remote, so you can turn that on the app itself it's called the responsive air setting. That's always going to be under your Sleep Number setting, which is that 100 number. Then you that one down. See how that little white dot is slid over there? That's green. That means the responsive air is on. Now, what that's designed to do is adjust your Sleep Number setting. So that 100 right up there, you see there, whatever your number might be, when you go into a store and you have them lower the firmness of it till you feel comfortable sleeping on there. That is supposed to engage the responsive air setting, which will move with your body as you're sleeping at night. So if you were to say move from your stomach, your side sleeper, you're on your back sleeper, whenever it senses any motion at all during the night, it'll essentially relocate the air. This is my bed behind me. So you'll always be sleeping at your Sleep Number setting, but you'll always have a level firmness of air underneath you as you sleep. So it won't be like 20% air if you're like more on the edge of the bed, and 80% behind you, so you wake up and you have a sore back. That's supposed to counter that, is what that does. And what you can also do is you can actually turn that little white dot off. If you just wanted to say lay in your bed, or you weren't ready to go to sleep for the night, that'll actually keep that setting off. So if you sit on your bed, usually after around 10 or 15 seconds, when the bed senses your weight on there, when that setting is turned on, it will go down to your number. So if you're anywhere between a 25 and a 50, which is what a majority of Americans are, that'll drop down to your number. And when you get off the bed, when you're ready to start your morning, usually it can vary. Sometimes it takes 15 minutes, sometimes it takes 20. It might just depend. The pump, this guy here, this will kick back on and activate and fill up the bed. So it'll fill in those body gaps that probably got left behind when you got off the bed in the morning. So if you went from say 100 firmness to like maybe your number was 40 or 30, that's a lot of air that came out. So when you get off your bed, that's going to leave, you know, a bit of a body gap there. So when the responsive air is turned on your phone app, that will then reinflate the bed itself. So when you go to sleep the next night, you're not falling into like, you know, a hole kind of like, or a crater in your mattress. It'll take you from that firm setting down to your number again. So you can always keep that turned on whenever you're, you know, ready to go to bed. And having the bed fully inflated, you can either do it with the app or the remote here. It's a good way to actually preserve the foam surround that's around both of those air chambers in your bed, or however, you know, whatever your setup is, twin, single, king, queen. It'll preserve this foam wall here, so over time this won't deteriorate, or, you know, whenever you get out of bed or get on the bed in the morning, all your weight gets pushed down on it. Over the years, if you were not to have that inflated, like if you just left it at your number all the time, I always explain to people it's kind of like physics. It will, you know, start pressing on that, and, you know, it'll start to, you know, maybe start forming to the shape of your body, because it's not, you're not allowing it to kind of let it like rise up again with the chamber that's inside to its original form when it was brand new. So always make sure to have that reinflated, because I have had service calls where people will come out. We will literally unzip the whole outer shell topper here, and we'll open the thing up, and the comfort layer foam on top here, this whole like surround piece there, that will actually have gotten pulled apart or pulled away from the bed, because someone maybe, you know, weighs, you know, 230, 206, whatever your weight is, if you're a little on the heavier side, that will have gotten pulled away because you're literally pushing on that. And sometimes, you know, when your number or when your mattress doesn't get reinflated all the way, all that weight, you know, it pulls it apart. And with some other people, if they're, you know, weigh less, it can start to deteriorate or decompose. So I'll have show people examples. I'm just like, see, you know, look here, you know, how that pull away from the side wall here, the side rail. So that's pretty much why you always want to make sure your bed is at 100% firmness when you're not using it at night. So when you're ready to go to bed, you can turn on that responsive air back on your SleepIQ app setting just by tapping on that dot there. See that green dot where that white slider is? So that essentially will turn that system setting back on. Again, that's a software only thing. You would not be able to activate it on just one of these remotes. There's no option for that at all. That's just a software only thing. And then just, you know, like I said, you could tap it again, just turn it on, tap it again if you just wanted to lay in your bed, but you didn't want the pressure to go down. So I'm going to upload this video to my YouTube channel. Spread it around, share it, you know, make sure you have, hopefully I answered all your questions. I know my primary one was to address the pump repair and, you know, the phone app issues as well as, but I hope I explained enough, so, or if you were to have a pump issue or any of these issues, it would save you some time and effort, because a lot of times the store associates all over the country, they don't see how we put these beds together, so they might not necessarily tell you or give you a home delivery checklist, which you can actually access on the Sleep Number website too. You can just do a search for home delivery checklist, and usually it's only maybe like 5 or 7 steps of what to prepare for when you're getting ready to get your bed. So they can be in and out, you know, within like 45 minutes or less. All depends usually on how ready you are to receive everything. But hope you guys learned everything. Like I said, pass this, share it along, and enjoy your sleep. Thanks a lot.